Hello YouTubers, and welcome to another PvZ Garden Warfare 2 video made by the one and only me. Me as in Dave. Dave as in Dave Does Gaming. What I'll be talking about for today is something that is a little controversial. To me, that is. As the title suggests, we're talking about the All-Star not deserving a nerf he received over the summer in a patch update. While some of you might have been glad for it, I'm quite surprised that the All-Star, frequently viewed as the worst class in the game by many Garden Warfare veterans, was nerfed. What I'm going to talk about are my views on the subject, because one small nerf to an important character can change everything, especially when you're facing off against 4 new plant classes. First point, the nerf itself. The All-Star's overheat upgrade was decreased in its effectiveness. Now the All-Star can't fire his weapon for long without overheating quickly. If I recall correctly, I believe the explanation for the nerf was that players were getting vanquish streaks with him very often. But did I ever see this happen? Not on Xbox One. Although I think that the PC platform has more of an impact on gaming performance due to the advantages of the keyboard and mouse over the console controller. I was a pro with the All-Star in Garden Warfare 1, and he was my favorite character. I admit that I'm biased. I've used him frequently. But hey, was there a problem with other players overusing All-Star? No. Hardly anyone ever played with him. I'll say that I used to get tons of vanquishes with him, and not because he's a broken character, he isn't. It's because I have skill when I'm using him. The best I've done with him is getting 84 vanquishes on the Main Street Nighttime map. Garden Warfare 2, however, is a different story, and I'll fill you in on why. My All-Star dominance was, for the most part, undisputed in Garden Warfare 1. I carried my team almost every time. In the sequel, it's almost impossible to get anywhere close to my old personal vanquish record. Until recently, the best I've done was around 41. Very recently, I was actually able to get 69 vanquishes, but that was a very rare opportunity indeed. Why? That's because of Citron and Colonel Corn and Rose. 3 new powerful, if not overpowered characters that are more than a match for All-Star, and make using him against them extremely difficult. And on top of that, the overheat upgrade nerf harmed my chances for defending myself if I'm up against a mob of plants. It's not that the football cannon itself was made weaker, it's just not as effective as it was before. Let's run over a few All-Star versus New Plant class scenarios, shall we? Please keep in mind that I won't talk about his interaction with the Torchwood class yet, because I do not know of Torchwood's current impact on gameplay. Let's start off with those Miss Rosies. For me, All-Star is hard to use against player Roses because 1. They are difficult to hit due to their compact hitboxes. 2. Her time snare ability can cancel my sprint tackle attack, my real advantage if I want to spare myself from any further unnecessary damage, if I time the attack poorly. And 3. Her Goatify ability makes it even more frustrating for me to vanquish them. And don't get me started with the Arcane Enigma. Moving on to Colonel Corn, or, more commonly, those pesky barbecue corns. Their shuck shots and huskops, compared to the All-Star's lack of maneuverability, are devastating, if not unfair. Especially if I'm against a swarm of Colonel Corn noobs who are all trying to get at me. Nothing more needs to be said there. It's quite obvious where it's going. Last but not least is Citron, All-Star's second rival to Chomper. Citron is extremely fast in ball form and can use his turbocharged attack to devastating effect, which All-Star cannot hope to counter without a well-timed tackle dummy shield. Citron's EMP can wreak havoc, wasting 2 valuable seconds of defense or escape, but either attempts have always been failures for me. It's super frustrating. And not only that, Citrons can fire their primary weapon through their peel shields, an advantage the All-Star does not enjoy because that shield does not compromise firepower, compared to his tackle shields. One other tiny observation is that the All-Star doesn't, or didn't, seem to inflict much physical damage if they tackle Citron while their shields are up. I'm just throwing that out. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happened. Character imbalance is not my only concern for him. Another problem with All-Star is that his Impunt and Long Bomb are extremely ineffective. The big issue with the Impunt in Garden Warfare 2 is that it tends to explode before it even hits a target, or it completely misses them. And the contrast of the area of effect damage versus point-blank range damage is considerable. That wasn't the case in Garden Warfare 1. It also doesn't seem to travel as far when I jump and punt it. If there is one more issue, it's about the chompers. Chompers are the bane of my existence whenever I play with the All-Star. Even worse, it seems that many players these days decide to use chompers for the sake of getting even one vanquish. And guess who they always come after? Me. It's always me. Why, do I wonder? Answer: because they probably think that the All-Star is the slowest zombie in the game, and that's what makes them an easy target. That is half true, but no. Yet I can never escape a burrowing chomper. Even if I do, that doesn't mean that he will catch up to me. It's even more annoying that they can goop you without you ever having a chance to defend yourself as they come running towards you and then snaring you in a spikeweed for an even easier chomp. Even if you could defend yourself against one chomper, how could you defend yourself against many? Their high health would make vanquishing them time-consuming, and the football cannon's overheating problem exacerbates the issue. Remember when the armored chomper was being spammed? Could I have even defended myself against this high-health enemy whenever my weapon overheated, despite his low maneuverability and speed? Not a chance. I'll get off topic for a moment here for a personal statement. If there's one more thing I can't stand, it's the gurgled cries an All-Star makes whenever he gets devoured by a chomper. It's really upsetting for me to hear, and that's why I've been not trying to play with him as much as I used to on multiplayer. That's because I tend to only get vanquished by chomper players. If you think this makes me sound pathetic and squeamish, then allow me to explain something. I'm just personal about it because I care for the big guy. Back to the subject. All of these dilemmas can be avoided if the All-Star has his weaponry adjusted. Because when I face a crowd of plants, like an All-Star should, I can't use my abilities because I'm always being immobilized. So it is crucial that the weapon should be adjusted back to its pre-patch status, because when you're playing with All-Star, the football cannon is the only chance you have for any kind of success in this sort of situation. I worry that the All-Star doesn't have a chance for that anyway. Considering the recent addition of the Torchwood class, he's really not going to make things any easier, you know? And if players are going to come in and spam him, how can any All-Star defend himself? I'm tired of running away from combat. It is time for him to make a stand and to return to his former glory. So, if you think I'm advocating the buff of an unpopular class, would it matter to chew me out for believing? I think not. No matter how many All-Stars you'll see in a server, that doesn't show that he is a popular character. All I want for him is greater survivability, especially against mobs of those chompers and now those torchwoods. But enough has been said, and I want you, my viewers, to think about this topic. Do you think the All-Star deserves a buff? Do you think he deserves to return to his former glory? Let me know in the comment section below to tell me what you think. So with all that said, I thank you very much for watching this video. Please hit that like button as a show of support and appreciation for the hard work I've put into making this video. And please, click on the subscribe button so you can stay tuned for more upcoming Garden Warrior videos. And, without another word, this is Dave, signing off.